Top Hill Recording Podcast, episode 203. Tonight, our guest, Bradley McKinney.
Thank you.
How's it going, man?
How's it going? What's up?
Going good, buddy. How you doing tonight?
Hanging out. I'm having a good time.
Before we get too deep into it, we want to tell everybody and that is listening and watching, make sure you like and subscribe Top Hill Recording Podcast on YouTube, on Instagram, everything. Earl Bowman as well. Earl, you got to tag your stuff.
Yeah, follow me. Follow us. Like, it just takes a second. That's the easiest way to support the podcast. You can always send us money. I'm sure there's an address for that. But yeah, just like and subscribe. It's an easy way to do it. Same way here for Bradley. Find him on the internet.
Yeah. Bradley, before we get too far, where can people find you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram. I'm Bradley_MCK_official on Instagram. You can find my link tree on there. That's all my other socials are on there. YouTube, my website, everything.
Right on.
Right there. So,
all right. I want to do that at the beginning and the end from now on, dude. So, all right, man. So we just kind of start off. When you walked in the room, you had mentioned that it's been a year since you started as a quitting your day job and doing the full-time musician stuff. So,
yeah, happy anniversary to that.
Happy anniversary. Tell us how that became a reality for you. Maybe the couple years leading up to that decision, up until how that last year's looked for you.
Man, it was a mess of a time. I was at UofL, actually. I was a jazz studies major on saxophone, and I started gigging a lot during that time. Graduated in December of 2018, and I had a year where I was starting to pick up a lot of solo piano gigs, and I was playing in a couple bands, doing some fun stuff. And then that COVID thing hit, man. And I was selling health insurance at the time. I was an assistant. I was making some pretty good money doing that. Got promoted during the pandemic, and I was doing pretty well there, but music was just, it kept calling, and I kept playing, and I was playing gigs as much as possible. I was up at French Lick doing solo piano. I was at Sealbach, started playing at the Pine Room. And I was just like, you know what? I could step away from this job. So in 2022, I gave myself a year. And January 15th of 2023, that was when I walked out.
Legit,
and I was able to do this.
Legit,
yeah, man.
1 year.
Yeah,
One
good
year
for you.
today.
I think that's the dream, is to leave your job and just play music. So good
Absolutely.
for you.
I actually pieced that together on the ride over here. I was like,
kidding.
oh man, dude, this was a year. Okay, cool. So yeah, this is nice.
Has in the years of walking away from a job, has this become a job?
Absolutely. Full time. I've been very fortunate. We got a lot of opportunities to play here in Louisville, and I'm with Top Shelf Louisville right now. They keep me really busy too. So between solo piano and Top Shelf, I'm staying busy, teach a couple days a week. And it's full time. It's feeding my German Shepherd dog. So must be doing something right.
No doubt. All right. So we'll actually go back to the very, very beginning, man, because what we always like to do for first time guest on the show is to tell us how music became a thing that you knew that you had to do. Take us all the way back to the very first time you can remember, like, this was a thing. And then I guess if it was sax or keys that really kind of caught your interest first.
Well, if we went all the way back to the prologue, man, that's 1937. So I wasn't around back then, but my grandpa was born then, and he was an accordion player in Louisville.
Okay.
Wound up opening a shop and all that. And so me and all my siblings and cousins, we all took piano lessons. And I started taking piano at 7, picked up the saxophone in, I think, 4th or 5th grade. And I was playing in bands in middle and high school, and eventually went to UofL and was playing saxophone at UofL. But I stayed with piano. And just as kind of time went on, piano just started being more of the calling. It was there was more opportunity for me there. The solo gigs were great. I love playing solo piano.
Really?
Oh yeah, I absolutely love it. 3-4 hour gigs, I'll just sit up there and play. Sometimes whatever I want, just jam and solo, and the crowds are always great. So it's just a rewarding thing for me, and I have a blast doing it. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
And you're so Brad, my co-host, Brad, you met Brad last time because you also were playing with Adrian.
Yes, sir. I was in Adrian Taylor's band for a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
still keep in touch with him, and we write some together still. We actually played a show together mid-September. We did a duo show, maybe early October. Great time.
Was that with Top Shelf or with you?
No, that was just me and AJ. We did a little duo.
Okay.
Me and him at Village Market over there in Paristown.
Cool. Right on.
Yeah, it was pretty neat. So we had a good time doing that.
Shoot, I couldn't imagine doing Pianist, like solo piano. That's a lot of space to fill.
I was gonna say, I feel like it would be fun. Like I played like about that much piano, and I'll just jam on the same chords. I feel like forever. And so if you actually know what you're doing, I feel like it'd be really easy to just get into it and just play and kind of just play for hours.
I'm just faking it, really. Hey, 4 chords. All right, we can do that in a little pentatonic scale, right?
So I just stick to the black keys, and that will always, if you just bang on the black keys, usually you'll get pretty close to playing something. And that's my secret to the faking the piano.
Yeah, you'll eventually bang out Superstitious. Oh man, so you I think you were right. You came in, you said, yeah, you've never had just a keyboard player, have you? And I was at that point when I was going to say about Brad booking, a lot of times I don't know what we're getting. So I was like, all right, so do you sing too? And like, no, I don't sing. And all right, this is going to be interesting.
I'd be fired from all my jobs if I started singing, man.
That's wild.
They'd be like, oh,
it's wild that somebody that plays is that good, sax and something else has a hard time singing.
I know you mentioned that you write a little bit. Do you write lyrics or is it just music?
I have written lyrics before, but nothing that's ever seen the light of day. Most of it's just music. With different people, I've written with some hip hop artists before. I've written with some country artists before. So they might bring lyrics to me, or they might have an idea, and we just kind of sit down and just hash it out and work it out. But as far as my solo stuff went, I was playing so much solo music all the time. Sometimes, like this weekend alone, I played 10 hours of solo piano Friday to Sunday.
That's wild.
So, I was just writing songs like, hey, man, this could be a cool piano piece. And I was playing a lot of classical or Bill Evans stuff anyway, just when I was jamming at home. So music started to be written just based off that alone. No lyrics, so I didn't have to worry about lyrics or anything like that. And it's just kind of came together for me. So it's nice.
Very interesting. It's very interesting that the just thinking of like 10 hours on a piano or on any instrument and getting paid. When you do that, is it? I would assume you're more like a background ambiance building type of reasoning that you're there.
Oh,
is that more like like the fancy places?
That's what I imagine. You dress up, you wear nice clothes,
suit,
and you just play the damn piano. Yeah,
well, it starts as background music. So I show up, I'm in the suit. It's a nice fancy restaurant. I played Vincenzo's last month. I played Pine Room all the time. Seelbach Hotel. I played a French Lick before. The Omni. These are ambiance.
Nice places.
Super sweet.
Yeah.
But what I've found is when I get in there and I start playing, if I start and I'm just kind of doing some background music, nice, pretty, maybe cocktail jazz kind of stuff. Then I start playing some stuff that people recognize and they know, and then they start singing along with, I can play whatever I want after that. So, it always starts as like kind of that background ambiance music. And then someone comes up and they're like, did you just play Californication by the Red Hot Chili Peppers? And I'm like, yeah, I did. I just did that. So then, I can play whatever I want after that. So it's pretty cool, man. I have a good time.
Nice.
Am I right to think when I was looking you up on Instagram earlier that you slipped an Eminem song into a set recently?
Oh, yeah. I play Eminem quite a bit. I try to hide it in there, but I bring it out every now and again. So,
All right. So I guess the big question for me, you did 4 songs at the top of this, and like I said, I didn't know what we were expecting. It's piano tunes, and they're interesting. They're cool. Like with the first one, I'm looking, Colonel Chamberlain's address to his men, July 1863. What a title!
Mouthful, right?
That's a mouthful. For somebody that doesn't write lyrics, that's a mouthful.
Yeah, that's almost. Yeah, you're almost written lyrics there yourself.
Yeah, so. I guess my real question is, is there a plan with what you're doing? Or is this something that you're writing these tunes not necessarily accidentally? Is there a purpose? Just playing 10 hours is going to lead you to do some things off the cuff that are interesting enough to go, okay, I can do a little bit of this and that. But, what's the end game here for you? What's the goal? Because a lot of the people that we have in this room have major plans. They're driving to these gigs. They're coming in to do this thing from out of town, and there's a catalog of stuff that they have. It's big and it's loud, so like when you come in, I think you played for 8 minutes total. It's by far the shortest that anybody's ever played, what you said you would explain. But what is the overall vision of this for you?
Well, I kind of approached these like jazz standards almost. And I never sat down and actually wrote a single song with the intention of it being a full completed song. I read a Stevie Wonder interview when I was in college. He said something along the lines of he writes a song a day. It's like an exercise for him. And so if I can write maybe 4 chords, maybe a melody line every day, I did my exercise. I did my 10 push-ups on the keyboard or whatever. Then a lot of these, they kind of started coming together. There was a little bit more meat to them. And I was playing these, Pine Room on a Saturday night, that's 3.5 hours, and I don't take breaks. So I play the whole time. I sit down, I start playing, 9:30, I'm done. And for me, man, these songs started to kind of have some meat in them. So I was like, what if I solo over these too? So I can stretch a 1:30 song into a 5-minute song if I wanted to. And then that kind of led to some other things too. Like, what if I brought a drummer and a bass player in and actually did like a trio to some of these songs? So I titled the EP Sketches because they were sketches of songs. They were just short little chunks of the songs. And then when you hear me live or you hear the trio version of that later on, you're going to get these long songs with jams and solos and all that good stuff. So I kind of treat them as versatile music, I get to just see what I want to do with it. So
that's an interesting
really
way.
Cool. Yeah.
Interesting way to approach it, Sketches. That is pretty neat.
And I like that you don't write long. I write short songs. Most of my songs are super short, especially when I'm playing them solo and there's no one like playing solos on them. Like they're short as shit. Some of my songs are 2 minutes, 20 seconds. And I always feel like a song's a song. And sometimes it is what it is. And you don't have to go crazy at it. Like I don't write a lot of bridges, a couple verses and a chorus. And I feel like if I've got my idea out, that's enough for me. So I like that you have short songs. It's kind of refreshing some people will play a song into the ground. And sometimes I feel like it's nice just to hear a tune and that'd be it. And I would love to hear it with a little band behind you too. Would be super cool.
That's going to be before the end of this year. You guys will be hearing that. So it'll be nice.
Right on. Yeah. Plus, I guess if you leave it rubberized, with room for movement and room to be malleable and grow and do different things when you do have other people in it, that definitely makes it interesting. And that is interesting. You were having something short like that, especially with the sketches, just going, here's just an idea.
It's like if you want the rest, come out to a show.
That's interesting.
So I like that.
Yeah. Or, if I build a band, come out and see the band, or, the band has music. The other thing was, man, I listen to a lot of jazz and I'm a deadhead. I know I'm not dressed like one. Spencer's deadhead. I saw Dead & Co twice last year, and they'll take a song and they'll just stretch it for 10, 20 minutes,
yeah,
man.
20,
it's
30
awesome.
years.
So I think that, the organic, when you're playing live, that organic approach to your song, your music, that's what's cool. That's what people really like seeing live. And that's why I wasn't tripping on these songs being 1.5 minutes long. I was like, okay, hey man, I can do tons of stuff with this, but this is the sketch to the song. So
I think that's a cool idea. Like I said, I love short songs. I feel like it doesn't just leave room to expand them. Like I play my songs a lot shorter when it's just me than when I'm with the band. Well, I'm like, give Spencer a solo or two. Like it's fun to play when you have more people. Sometimes when it's just yourself, there is only so much you can do by yourself, and you don't want to like run a song into the ground if you don't have to. So I like the short songs.
Absolutely.
I'm all about them.
Yeah.
I only write short songs.
I don't really aim to ever write anything.
I don't aim for anything. I'm just ready to be. I think I'm just lazy and it's just over. Like the other day at band practice, my drummer was like, "How long is your album?" I'm like, "Bro, it's like 22 minutes. I don't know. It's short."
How many songs?
8 songs. I'm like, they're all short as shit.
30 years ago, I think that probably would have been looked down upon.
That's the standard. No,
but now I think it works. I think a lot of people like that.
Well, it was the norm back before it became not the norm. Before,
if you look at really old songs,
Buddy
they're
Holly
short
songs
as shit.
are 2 minutes, 20 seconds. Elvis Presley songs, all those old songs are just short and sweet and concise and to the point. Beatles tunes, all those, the Meet the Beatles back in the 60s.
I would always rather want more from, be like, listen to the same song over and over again, then be like, I'm ready to skip it. Like, I've listened to it enough. And so I would always rather play the same 2-minute song like 10 times than get halfway through a 5-minute song and be like, all right,
I you'll have better quality sometimes too. Instead of forcing like, all right, we got to write a bridge to this. I don't want to write a bridge to this.
When you start forcing stuff is when you really end up you take something really cool and make it something really shitty. As I feel like that's why for me, like if I've written a couple verses I like and a chorus, I don't always need a bridge. I feel like that's just the end of the song. If it gets, I write lyrics, and so if I feel like if I've got my idea out, that's all I need, and it doesn't have to.
Do you title your songs after lyrics then?
I do. Most of the time? Most of the time I'll write the song and then like mostly base the lyric, like the title off the chorus somewhere.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Yeah.
See, I was at a disadvantage. I didn't have lyrics.
Yeah, that would be tough, dude.
I was like, what am I going to name this? Well, I'm reading. I mean, Colonel Chamberlain. That's a long title. I'm a huge John Mayer fan. Like, I'm the biggest John Mayer fan you're going to meet. I get clowned on by my pals all the time for it. But he had a tune called Walt Grace Submarine Test, January 1967. That was a long, long title, and I went, I kind of like a long title. I like something like that. And I was reading Killer Angels by Michael Shara about the Battle of Gettysburg. I'm a huge history buff. And Colonel Chamberlain had this really good speech where he's just trying to get his men they all wanted to desert. They just wanted to go home. They didn't want to be up there. And he was just like, hey, look, I'm just going to have a talk with my guys. And it was actually a really good speech. It's on the movie Gettysburg too. I was like, this song kind of sounds Civil War-esque, I guess. So let's just name it that. Long title. I fulfilled it. That's cool. But
checking a box.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
I like the fact that it's a short song that's short and sweet with a really long title.
Yeah, say it takes longer to read the title than it does to listen to the tune.
Yeah, I totally dig that.
And I like that all 4 of your songs sounded really different too. I like I felt like you definitely had some variety in there. I love the piano is my favorite instrument. I feel like there's just something really just beautiful about the piano. Anytime I see someone who can really play it is always really just neat to me, because like it seems so simple. Everything's in order, but when you go to play it and you have no idea what you're doing, it's like, this is very difficult. But you see someone who knows what they're doing. To me, like, the piano's where it's at. I love keys.
Yeah, thank you, man.
So you talked about kind of the joys of playing solo and being able to kind of self-express and find your groove and what you want to do, and 10 hours of it in a weekend. The difference between that and what you do with Top Shelf, let's talk about that a little bit, because you talk about party band, lots of noise, lots of fun, playing the hits, doing all the.
Because I've heard of Top Shelf. I've seen, like, I feel like I've known of you all playing around, and so cover bands I feel like are where the fun happens. So
it's a fun venture, and the difference between what I'm doing solo and that is night and day. Mm-hmm. So when we're up there, we played New Year's Eve at Tin Roof Cincy, packed out, man. And we played Jump up there by Van Halen. I'm on the synth, just acting like a complete fool, just having a blast. It's a much different environment, but it's great. And all of the guys in the band they're super cool. The energy's up. Your energy goes up, the crowd energy goes up, and it's just a fun time. And those gigs fly for me.
Because I'm sure those are long gigs too.
Sometimes, yeah. I think the shortest gig I played with them was 2 hours.
Yeah. Because I know mostly cover bands. Yeah, say 3 to 4 hours most of the time.
3 hours of playing, 4-hour gig.
Yeah.
Well, we get to play some cool crowds too. We played at the Speed Art Museum. None of us had any idea what this was going to be. We had no idea. And we walked in there and everyone was dressed up. Like, I equate it to when on the Hunger Games, when the elites are having their little parties. That was how it felt like. Like, everyone was dressed up. There was art everywhere. There was visual stuff going on, lights. And we just got to be up there and play. And everyone was just totally having a blast. So yeah, that's a really cool time for me, man.
I mean, it sounds like you get a lot of cool gigs. Like,
dude,
it sounds like if you're going to quit your job and try to do it. It sounds like you're doing it. Like you're playing cool places. I'm especially
Trying.
too like playing the solo stuff. Like I bet you make pretty decent money just doing by yourself at these nice places.
Yeah,
like,
the
not to get way into that,
piano's
but
good.
yeah, I bet you do
it's
all
good
right,
for that.
especially at the places you named. I'm sure they
Oh,
do all right.
well, and it's not even always that, but like when you play, like I said, if you can put a bug in someone's ear when you're playing, and it doesn't matter if you're in a band, doesn't matter where you're playing, but if you play that one song and there's that one guy that loves New York State of Mind, I pull that out, everyone loves it. Someone's going to ask for your card. You're going to get a gig again somewhere else. So it just, compounds. And the fact that people are listening to you, that's the coolest part about it. Because it's like, dude, people, that's awesome, man. Like, you're listening to me play piano. That's cool, man. So
I wish that there's a confidence level to be able to go play something solo, because I play guitar, Spencer plays guitar, or plays guitar. But when I think of doing something like that, going and playing, it always involves singing.
Always.
There's never the confidence level to be quiet during that. Do you like banter between songs? Do you have a microphone? Do you do any of that? Or is it just, you just kind of lay back? Because
it depends on the venue.
I'm telling you, man, there's a bravery to doing that that's just ballsy.
Yeah,
it's
fun,
fun,
when
man.
You're good, you're good on the keys, man. Like,
thank you.
Like you mentioned, like playing songs, people like little earworms or whatever. Like you were playing like Four Non Blondes, I think, as your. And I wanted to start singing along. I was like, oh, I can't mess up the sound check, but I was like, I know this tune, and it's cool just to hear it. Like,
thank you.
Actually, I did say, "What's going on?" Because I didn't know if you were going to sing or not. And I had to right before I came in here and asked you if you were going to sing. So what's going on in here? When are we going to do this?
I try to play songs that people would never guess a piano player. Like I've played Nirvana, "Smells Like Teen Spirit" on a gig. I try to hit songs that people are like, I would have never thought a piano player, especially like the Pine Room, would ever play that. And I feel like that's kind of where you get that bug in people.
That's where you catch people's attention when you do something. They turn their head and go, "What is he just playing?
Yeah.
Is that Eminem?" And it's like, it is.
If I can get someone in the crowd, like at a cafe, especially in Paris town, I can pretty much see the whole restaurant. And if I'm playing something and I look around and I see someone like sit up, like they kind of poke their head up, I know I'm doing something right. That just feels great for me. So
Cafe's a good spot too.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
So I have a question. Kind of wraps into the confidence thing and wraps into your past of growing up playing piano and learning saxophone and all that stuff in a more traditional style and way. How is there any advice that you could give to someone that is younger or someone that is used to playing in such a structured format, that being sheet music or tabs or, something of that nature, to be able to go out there and to sit down and not only to memorize a bunch of tunes, but also to be able to improvise upon that. And not only improvise on already created music, but then like with your own tunes, just figuring out some chords and then being like, okay, well, then I'm going to do this, like building up that confidence. What was that journey like? And is there any advice that you could give to really me and anybody else out there?
Oh, that's a good question. I'd say practice is the number one. You gotta practice every day, which is always difficult to do. I try to get it knocked out in the morning. Practicing, transcribing a little bit when I go and listen to music and try to play back what I hear. That always helps my ear. Tends to help me when I try to solo and things like that. But as far as playing for extended amounts of time, if I had a student that would ever come to me and ask, "Hey, I want to do solo piano. I want to actually try this out," I would say, "Okay, get an hour of material under your belt. An hour. Make sure that's good. That's all you practice this month, or the next 3 even. Just do that. Get that hour and get that pretty solid, and then go and get a gig. And while you're gigging, try to learn a song or two a week." That was pretty much my approach to it. When you have that first hour, and I'm going to say just do pop tunes, Do the tunes that everyone knows and loves. Because then they're not going to nag you about, well, do you also know this? Or do you know, you don't have to be like, I don't know that song.
That's the worst. I hate when people,
dude.
they're like, I'm sorry, dude. Like,
it sucks when they try to shame you about it.
it's like, you don't know, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't know who the fuck you're even talking about. Like,
it's like, my bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say just, learn some pop tunes and try to get, I think it was Joe Pass was who said this. Any instrumentalist should be able to sit down for an hour and play their instrument just by themselves for an hour. And if you can do that and you get a gig out of it and people came, they threw some tip money at you, you get a free drink at the venue, someone comes up, they take a picture with you, they say, oh man, dude, I love that. You play Billy Joel. I love Billy Joel. All of a sudden, man, that's the high you need. You're going to go home and learn 100 more songs, And for me, it was just like, hey, I'm enjoying this. This is cool. So it just kind of became, the snowball effect over time. But I would say that first hour is essential to any instrumentalist at all. You should be able to sit down by yourself for an hour and play. And I think most venues in Louisville would hire I think a didgeridoo player could get an hour gig if they wanted, man. So it's get that hour under your belt and you're golden.
Great advice. It's great advice. It really is. Yeah, I feel like that's like the most nerve-wracking thing when you first start going to gig is like, do I have enough material? Like, how long of a set am I doing? But yeah, I feel like if you can do an hour and it's a quality hour, even if you end up having to split like a 3-hour set with a buddy or something, like just to get through it, if you can do it, you got to be able to do an hour.
But even splitting's not a bad thing.
I love splitting.
It's cool.
I split time all the time. Like that's what most of my sets are. You can even
market it that way. Then you got 2 people marketing your gig now instead of 1. So
it's like if we each bring 5 people out, there'll be 10 people there.
Absolutely. I kind of like playing a dead room sometimes. You can play whatever you want.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can just go, do whatever.
Nope.
I play a lot of empty rooms.
I've done enough of that. I've played enough to enough dead rooms to not want to play it anymore. All right, man. So we're going to move on to Weston's questions. We haven't done that in a long time.
We haven't done it in a couple of episodes.
I'm telling you, man. It's been a minute.
All right, I'll start with the first one. Tell us a non-music thing about you, like a fun fact that you want to share. And I know this is everyone's favorite fucking question is a fun fact. But what is there something about you want to share?
I'm a huge hiker. I love to hike. We're actually right by one of my favorite trails in the Louisville area, Siltstone Trail.
Yes,
I love that thing, man. I love it. I've been fortunate to be able to backpack in a lot of places. I've hiked and climbed a lot of mountains. I hiked up to the top of Mount Etna in Sicily. That's the volcano in Sicily. I did that. And this past summer, me and one of my best friends, we summited Mount Elbert in Colorado, the highest peak out there.
No kidding.
So
how many feet's that?
14,400.
14,400, huh? That's crazy.
Yeah, it was up there.
I've got a nephew that lives out there who's he loves climbing and hiking, and he lives right outside of El Dorado. Oh my God, dude.
It was gorgeous out there, man.
It's beautiful.
My buddy, he was living out there at the time, and I got to crash on his couch, and we bought this just shitty tent and just stayed in there a couple nights and just went hiking, and it was awesome. So,
amazing.
Yeah,
that's a good fact. That's the best. Yeah, we haven't asked this question in a little bit, but that's the best answer in a while.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's nobody's favorite question. But,
it's not a hard question.
It is. If you don't have a fun fact about you, like that's like a nightmare. If you don't do anything cool and someone asks like, what's like a hobby? Like I say all the time in my set, like I hate when people ask what my hobby is. I'm like, it's smoking weed, and so that's my only hobby right now.
It's a great hobby.
Yeah, I know. I used to always joke that I used to say music's my hobby, but music's more than a hobby. So now it's just smoking weed, and so
you
can't say that all the time.
That's the best.
Oh, I do.
You can.
The next question is a little more fun, and I know you do tons and tons of gigs. So tell us about like a nightmare experience you've had at a gig, or something.
Oh man,
interesting or awful that has happened.
I'm pretty fortunate that there have not been many bad gigs. And part of that's just because of my attitude about it. I just love to get to play.
Yeah, you just said you like empty rooms sometimes. So yeah, there is no such thing as a nightmare.
Hey, you got an empty room with like a cute server walking by, and you're playing all her favorite songs. You know, that's a good
Hey,
night,
girl,
man.
what you want to hear?
Night.
Hey, girl,
It is.
who's your
The
favorite
post gig
artist?
sesh works out pretty well with that. But
Hey, girl, you ever heard Piano Man?
I even know Billy's solo on it. No, I think really when I used to play weddings as solo piano player, not the cocktail hours. The cocktail hours are cool. You just sit down and play Daughters by John Mayer for an hour.
Mhm.
Everyone's happy. But yeah,
The ceremony
whenever you're
itself?
oh man.
Yeah.
Because here's what happens, and it's not anyone's fault. It's not a bad thing. But you go in with the, hey, tell me what I need to do. And you're talking with the bride and the groom, and they tell you what they want. And then wedding day comes around, and the bride's mom gets involved. The groom's mom gets involved. And the groom's mom's neighbor's second grade teacher's dog gets involved. And then the next thing you know, they're requesting songs that you don't know. And then they're pissed off. Are you even professional? It's like, well, I asked for a repertoire list 6 months ago, and this is what I was given. Sorry. So
I've been practicing these songs for 6 months for hours on end.
I will say though, they're usually you get a wedding request song, it transitions pretty well to solo repertoire. So you just kind of keep it in the bank for the next time. But yeah, every now and again that gets a little stressful. But like I said, I don't think I've ever had any nightmares, knock on wood. Nothing too crazy. But every now and again, yeah, you'll get that, people start coming up to, well, do you also know this wedding's going to be a disaster if you don't? And it's like, oh man,
It's like, that's a lot of pressure.
I'm just trying to play and
Have
get
you
home.
met the groom? He's terrible. You're going to blame it on me? This wedding's not going to work out because of the piano playing?
That's wild. Yeah. People I hate, like we mentioned earlier, requests like stress me out. Like when I do my set, a lot of times I do split time and I do like all originals. Sometimes people are like, you know this? I'm like, I just play my own shit, man. That's all
Good
I know.
for you, though.
Yeah,
Good for you, man.
it's like, why don't you play this? I'm like, because I can't sing. Like I just play what I play, and if you don't like it, tough shit. You get what you get.
Modest Earl.
Yeah, well,
No, you got to stand by yourself though in those situations.
yeah,
Exactly
I mean,
what you're saying.
like
It's hey,
every
this
now
is
and then
what-
someone will be like, "Do you know a Bob Dylan tune?" And I'll be like, "I do actually know one. I'll play." But most of the time, it's like, "Hell no, I don't know what you're talking about." And it's the worst when you don't even have any idea, like we said, who the artist is. And I'm like,
man.
"I don't know who that is." And they're like, "You don't know who blah 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 is?" And
You
I'm
don't
like,
know Hootie and the Blowfish?
do you even play music? I'm like, I'm cashing the check, bitch. Like, I don't know. Like,
You don't know
it's-
Hold My Hand by Darius Rucker
Yeah.
before he was with Darius Rucker?
Yeah, we want some Hootie. Yeah. Well, it's good that you haven't had bad gigs. No one wants bad gigs.
I think it's a mentality thing too. You know, at the end of the day.
It is.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, everyone's been in situations that
Oh, I don't know.
you wish were better. As long as you
Hey,
can
I'm
get
knocking
through
on
them.
wood over here,
Yeah.
man.
I know you be a guest again, and you'll have a big list of stories
Like,
because you
know
said
that
that.
mentality thing with it, but yeah.
This question maybe is a little bit easier. Tell us the last local artist you listened to. It could be local to Louisville or to the state or to the region if you don't listen to a lot of local music.
Oh man, shout out to Blaze Grudy and Trap King Kai, man. I listened to them actually earlier today. Blaze posted on his story. I was a saxophone player at UofL, and that's where I met Blaze. And I was working before I went to music school. Actually, I was working at Bob Evans, which I'm that's like a Vietnam veteran flashback for me. Like I just want to block that out. But one good thing that happened from Bob Evans was I met Trap King Kai back then, and me and him met, and we would I was like 19, and we would just sit in the back and just debate hip hop all shift. That was all we did. And yeah, I guess Blaze posted on his Instagram story today, and I was like, oh man, I like that latest EP they put out. So I just kind of threw it on the car ride over to the bank. So yeah, it's Blaze and Trap, they're good guys, man.
Yeah, I check out Blaze all the time, and Trap, but Blaze in particular because of having the kid that's into the sax right now. I've kind of tried to lead him down the Instagram paths of
Blaze
those
is the
guys.
guy to be around, man. Yeah.
You speak about good mentality. He's always has a great positive mindset and always happy. Always have a good vibe.
Yeah, great positive guy.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. So I think to all our listeners that want to follow you, come check you out, come watch a solo gig, anywhere they can find you, follow you, listen to you, tell us where that is.
Yeah, well, you can follow our Top Shelf page on Facebook or Instagram. You're going to see all of our events and where we're at, all our public shows, and we got plenty coming up this year. If you want to follow me and see what I'm up to, I'm on Instagram, Bradley_MCK_official. And in my bio, I've got my link tree so you can find all my stuff. I'm always posting every week where I'm going to be at and every day when I'm going to be somewhere. Right now, my most consistent gig is the Cafe in Paristown on Sunday mornings. I play 11 to 2.
It's a great spot.
Man, it's awesome.
Great food, great music. Awesome. Yeah, I love the cafe.
They
I
treat
live
me
right by
pretty
there.
well. Oh, you do?
Oh,
yes,
nice.
I do. I go there, quite often.
Yeah, it's a cool
morning,
spot, man.
Go
I'll have to catch you there.
Nice.
Right on. Well, I guess make sure you check us out, Earl.
Follow us.
We'll follow you. Where are you at?
Yeah, I'm on anywhere you have social media. Earl Bowman Music. Please follow me. I need it big time. That's the only way I can book shows is if people follow my fucking page. So.
I have to make it out to Z-Bar and start requesting like Mariah Carey.
Dude, yeah, do it,
shit.
please.
You also need to start doing, promoting yourself on here when we close and say,
we'll follow the podcast. Like it really is the easiest way to support it. Like I said, I'm sure Neil will take checks and other things too, but
I don't know if I can take checks.
But just support the page, support the artists that come on. It's really so simple to do. It just takes a second. If you enjoy what we do, just find us. You can find us anywhere that you're on social media. If you're listening to this, follow us.
100%.
It's easy.
Easy peasy. Spencer, where can they find you at, buddy?
They can find me on Instagram at spencer.corbin. I do luthier side work. So if you need a setup or some new pickups or anything of the matter, please feel free to hit me up.
Hit that man up. All right, y'all. Check us out next time on Top Hill Recording Podcast. Like, subscribe, follow us on YouTube. Do all that stuff. Thanks.
Whoop, whoop.